blessing of the triple gems. May all things be protected and safe. May all beings born in each of the four ways live in the land of purity. May all in the three realms be born upon lotus thrones. May countless wandering souls realize the three virtuous positions of the Bodhisattva path. May all living beings with grace and ease fulfill the Bodhisattva stages. The countenance of the world honored one, like the full moon, or like the orb of the sun, shines with the light of clarity. A halo of wisdom spreads in every direction, enveloping all with love and compassion, joy and equanimity. Namo Shakyamuni Buddhaya. Namo Shakyamuni Buddhaya. Namo người gốc Giao Châu và Khương Cư gieo hạt giống thiện màu nhiệm trên những đồng ruộng tình yêu trải dài từ Bắc Việt Nam qua đến Trung Nguyên. Hơn 800 năm từ khi hoa sen nở trên biển Linh Sơn, đầy trí tuệ nảy mầm, đầy hoa trái thương yêu, những cơn mưa pháp tươi mát, những mảnh vườn nóng bức khô cằn, hàng ngàn hoa đi tiên, hàng vạn hoa hướng dương, vươn cao trao đón linh linh, theo pháp ban ban thơ cùng một nhịp, khơi bày sự sống nhiệm màu. Bầu trời thiên thang vài cùng mây trắng bay ngang, ánh trăng rằm chiếu sáng con đường thiện hành đưa về quê hương. Đời đời mang nặng ơn sâu, chúng con cúi đầu đảnh lễ, cúi đầu đảnh lễ, cúi đầu đảnh lễ sơ tổ thiền tông Việt Nam hương tâm hồi.
Việc này có một số sinh viên Việt Nam từ Bọc Đô về 35 em, và mình muốn cho các em được nghe tiếng Việt. Today we are supposed to speak Vietnamese, but we changed it into English because in the coming Sunday there will be many Vietnamese students from Bordeaux coming, and they would like to listen to a talk in Vietnamese. They have not had a chance to listen to Vietnamese for many years. Good morning, dear Sangha. Today is the 12th of October in the year 2006, and we are in the Upper Hamlet, Plum Village, during our fall retreat. If you ask me how old I am, I would like to say that 50 years ago, I was 30. I was a young Dharma teacher, teaching at a Buddhist institute called Ấn Quang. And I already had a lot of young monks and nuns studying with me. This is the name of the Buddhist Institute where I live, practice, and taught. If you go to Vietnam, you can still see the temple, the Buddhist Institute. I was 30. I was a Dharma teacher, and I helped found this institute also about 5 years ago. 5 years ago, when I was 25. The monk who established the temple, his name is Trí Hữu. Trí Hữu. Friend in wisdom, and Ân Quang is the light of the seal, the three Dharma seals. It was the year 956, and I was editor of the chief editor of a Buddhist magazine, and that Buddhist magazine is a monthly magazine. The magazine is the official voice of the National Buddhist Association, Tổng hội Phật giáo Việt Nam. Just a few years before that, all Buddhist associations in Vietnam was able to come together, and they founded a national Buddhist organization. So that national Buddhist organization wanted to publish a national magazine for the whole country, and Thay was given the task of editing that magazine, chief editor of the magazine. He was very glad because he had an opportunity to put forth new ideas concerning engaged Buddhism, the renewal of Buddhism that he had in his mind, in his consciousness. And fortunately, we have copies of that magazine available here in Plum Village. This is the collection of the second year of the magazine. So I don't know where is the collection of the first years. This is 1957. Thay was among the first Buddhist monks in Vietnam who had a Western education. And that is why when you study the magazine, you will see that there are articles written mentioning Western philosophy and religion and so on. There was an article written on Albert Camus, that French novelist. When they read L'étranger, The Stranger of Albert Camus, he recognized that Albert Camus also spoke about mindfulness. He described a young man who was about to be executed because he had committed a murder. And 24 hours before he was executed, he was lying on his back and looking at the skylight. And suddenly he saw a square of blue sky, very deeply. It looks like the first time in his life he sees this blue sky. And from that moment on, he wants to preserve that awareness until he died, because before that he felt that he was not truly alive. He did not. He wasn't able to touch life deeply, no mindfulness. And when a Catholic priest wanted to come and to perform the ritual before dying, he wanted to refuse because he did not want to lose his time. He only had less than 24 hours to live. He wanted to live very deeply every moment. So that Albert Camus called le moment de conscience, the moment of consciousness. And that is equivalent to mindfulness in Buddhism. And after having read the novel L'étranger, The Stranger, they wrote an article on Albert Camus. The year 1956 is a very special year also, because we were celebrating 2,500 years of Buddha's Nirvana. And we celebrated Buddha Jayanti. The celebration was organized in India, in Nepal, and our Buddhist community sent a delegation of 4 people to attend the celebration in India. And the chief of the delegation was the Patriarch Huệ Quang, who was the director of this magazine. Huệ Quang, the most venerable Huệ Quang. He was the highest monk in the south. he's a director of magazine, and Thay was the chief editor. So we produce a special issue of the magazine. Unfortunately, he had an accident and died in India. He had a hemorrhage, cerebral hemorrhage, so he died in India. I remember vividly that time. I was preparing a special issue on Buddha Jayanti, and we hear that he was dying in Kathmandu. The country was divided into parts after the Geneva conference, and the northern part became communist, and the southern part, after the defeat of the French army, tried to lean on America in order to stay non-communist. And there was a lot of confusion in the country. There was more than 1 million people who wanted to leave the north in order to go to the south. And Thay was given the job in that atmosphere of society. He was only 29. And among young monks and nuns, we feel also that kind of confusion. Communism, anti-communism, personalism, and we were confused. We did not know where to go. And among the young people, many were attracted by the communist ideology. Many were afraid. And I remember that in 1954, 2 years before that, the newspaper, the daily newspaper Dân Chủ, means democracy, asked Thay to write a series of articles for the daily newspapers. They believe that Buddhism can offer a way out of the situation. And the editor of Dân Chủ is Mr. Vũ Ngọc Cát. He proposed to Thay to write a series of articles on Buddhism dealing with the question, political, social, economic questions of our time. The idea is to seek for Buddhist light and vision in order to see a path out of the situation. And it is a daily newspaper, and they printed my article in the front page with a big title, printed in red color. And Thay was staying in the Ấn Quang temple, and at the same time Thầy Trí Quang who was very famous during the Buddhist struggle in '63. He was staying also in the An temple, and he was very interested also in what Thay wrote. He's a few years older than Thay, and I remember that every morning he went down to the corner of the crossroad, and he bought an example of Yeng-chu and read the article written by Thay. He was very curious. In a series of 10 articles, I wrote about the Buddhist insight concerning democracy, freedom, human right, religion, education, and so on. So it's really articles on engaged Buddhism. And the paper sold very well because so many young people, they were confused and they wanted to see a way out. And at that time, Thay was also, although he was a youngest Dharma teacher, but he was asked by the board of the institute to rearrange the schedule, the program of studies, so that Buddhist studies will be more relevant. The program of study will be more relevant to our time. 50 years ago. And then he began to write articles with titles like Buddhism Tomorrow, what kind of Buddhism we should have tomorrow, and so on. And all of you know that the term engaged Buddhism was born from that time in Vietnam. Last week, Thay went to Paris to address UNESCO, because UNESCO this year organized a special event for the Buddha, and with the coordination of the Royal of the Embassy of Royal Thay, UNESCO organized a ceremony in order to honor the Buddha 50 years later. Just last Saturday and Sunday. $50 years later. And before that, the Vietnamese ambassador at UNESCO came to Plum Village, and he conveyed the desire of other ambassadors to invite Thay to come to UNESCO and address the audience there. So Thay went there with a few brothers and sisters, and on the afternoon of the 7th, they made 3 proposals. Because UNESCO is an organization for educational, scientific and cultural affairs. So he suggested 3 things that UNESCO may initiate, and we promise that we will support UNESCO in doing these 3 things. They said that Buddhism is about awakening. Buddha is someone who is awake. His teaching and practice is about awakening. But as we find ourselves in a very dangerous situation, we need not the awakening of a few people, but we need a kind of collective awakening. And UNESCO can help accelerating that kind of collective awakening. The issue of violence, war, the issue of global warming, should be dealt with. And we are too busy to take care of small problems of our daily life. We don't have the time to sit down together in order to find out a way out. Most of us know that we are in a dangerous situation. We are leaving behind ourselves a planet that is deeply wounded, and we are not very kind to our children and their children, and yet we feel helpless. We feel we cannot do anything. We know that catastrophes will come, and yet we feel that we cannot do anything at all. Violence is everywhere in the Middle East, in our school, in our family, in our society. We consume violence and we produce violence. And the United Nations has decreed that the first 10 years, the first decade of the millennium should be a decade for the culture of non-violence and peace. We are in the year 2006 and not much has been done to respond to that kind of appeal. UNESCO has issued Manifesto 2000, and Plum Village has assisted in writing that appeal. And if you study the Manifesto 2000, you see that the 6 points proposed in the manifesto are almost identical to the 5 mindfulness trainings. And almost 80 million people have signed the manifesto, including many heads of states. But after having signed, nobody seems to have an opportunity to practice. And that is why we have to organize ourselves in order for the practice to be possible. In the Buddhist tradition, after having received the 5 mindfulness trainings, we commit ourselves to reciting the 5 trainings every 2 weeks, to hold Dharma discussion, to ask the question as whether we have practiced them well, and to promise that we will do better in the next 2 weeks. We are organized as sanghas in order to practice. And in other religious traditions, there are also the teaching and practice equivalent to the 5 mindfulness trainings. And the rabbi, the minister, the priest, the monks also have their grassroots people. And if they reorganize themselves, they can put into the practice of the 6 points that can be seen in the Manifesto 2000. You can get the Manifesto 2000 from the internet, and you can sign it, and you can even have a certificate that you have signed. But what is important is not signing your signature, but your practice. And that is why we have to organize our practice. So the first proposal I made in UNESCO is that UNESCO set up an institute for the practice of peace and non-violence. We already have a few peace universities, but in these places they only study about peace. And they make peace studies, conflict resolutions and so on, and they do not practice. Here is a training center. The institute should be a training center. And we can invite school teachers, parents, businessmen, political leaders to come and to be trained so that they can respond to themselves, to their family, and to the world with in a non-violent way, in a peaceful way. And UNESCO can get in touch with ministries of education in every country, and they can propose a number of school teachers, association of parents to come and be trained. And I said that we have Dharma teachers in Plum Village that can volunteer to come to help with the training, and we don't need a salary. We have trained more than 500 Dharma teachers in Plum Village, lay Dharma teachers and monastic Dharma teachers, and all of us can offer the teaching and the practice in a non-sectarian way. You don't have to be a Buddhist in order to practice peace. The fact is that we have trained police officers, correctional institute, administration personnel. And they don't need to take 3 refuges or 5 precepts in order to practice peace. And so we are ready to come and help. And also mention the fact that we have also materials for the study and practice of peace. Because about 10 years ago, Mr. Federico Meyer, former director of UNESCO, suggested that Thay wrote a manual on the practice of non-violence and peace. Thay accepted right away because Plum Village is a place where you practice non-violence and peace vis-a-vis your emotion, your anger, and you learn to deal with people in your family, in your community, in your neighborhood with non-violence, with peace. And you can describe Plum Village as a center for peace practice, non-violent practice. So Thay accepted that because Thay know that this is something that could be done easily. And in 1 year, with the collaboration of brothers and sisters in Plum Village, we have completed that manual for the practice of peace and non-violence. And it was published by Riverhead under the title Creating True Peace. It was originally a manual, but the publisher wished to bring in more stories and anecdotes in order to make it more pleasant for general readers. And we also have the book Anger, which is a very good manual of practice also. So if UNESCO set up such an institute, we can offer both materials, manuals, and also personals for the training, and we don't need the salary. And they propose that UNESCO, from the director to permanent delegate, would also participate in the practice. They have to embody the practice. They have to send their children to the institute also. And they invite people from other countries to come. They should not call only for action. They should be the action themselves. And I said that I have offered peace practice for police officers, prison guards, and also members of parliament. Imagine police officers doing walking meditation, breathing in, calming, breathing out, smiling. So why not the director of UNESCO? Why not the ambassadors to UNESCO? They have to embody the practice in order to invite the world to do the same. And peace always begins with yourself. So the message is very clear. Thay urged UNESCO to arrange so that they become a sangha of practice also, not just sitting and discussing sangha of practice. In that way, they will inspire other people to join in the practice, especially ministers of education, school teachers, association of parents, and business leaders, and so on. They said that we had trained many school teachers in Bangladesh, and in other retreats organized a little bit everywhere in Europe, Asia, America, and so on. And there are many school teachers now are using that method in order to teach and to suffer less in school. Because teachers can play the role of parents at the same time. If children have not had a chance to learn how to love, how to make peace in their family, and then now have a second chance, because the class is also can be a second chance for the child. The second proposal is UNESCO sponsor a summit meeting of religious leaders of the three traditions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Because the conflict in the Middle East involve these three religions. And Osama bin Laden practically believed that Christianity and Judaism are trying to destroy Islam, and they had to fight back. So it is like a religious war. We don't have to discuss whether that is true or not, but in fact the religious element is involved deeply in this war. When you are a suicide bomber, when you are ready to die, it means you have a very deep conviction that you are doing something for God. And actually, in the name of God, we kill. In the name of democracy and freedom, we kill. In the name of civilization, we kill. I had discussed with Father Daniel Berrigant in Paris about the issue of Buddhism and killing. In the book, The Raft is Not the Shore. It is written very clearly that if Thay has to choose between Buddhism and war, Buddhism and peace, Buddhism and peace, and then Thay chose peace. Because if you choose Buddhism and war, you lose both. By killing, by choosing war, you destroy Buddhism. Because Buddhism is peace. So if you destroy peace, you destroy Buddhism. It's very clear. You cannot, in the name of the Buddha or Buddhism, to kill. During the 11th and 12th century, Buddhism was persecuted in India. And there was no violent resistance on the part of the Buddhists. If you visited Bodh Gaya and other Buddhist sites, you see that many Buddhist statues was destroyed. And there's so many Buddhist statues, that is why they only had the time to destroy the nose of the... And the monks had chosen to fly, to go away, to take refuge in other places. And Buddhism is still alive. The Buddhists did not organize armed resistance. They said that in UNESCO, they said that fear, hate, violence and despair are born from our wrong perceptions. And wrong perceptions are there on the part of every warring parties in the Middle East. And in order to have peace, you have to try to remove wrong perceptions. When wrong perceptions are removed, there will be good communication, and fear will be removed, anger will be removed, and peace become possible. And they spoke about the practice of several groups of Palestinians and Israelis here in Plum Village. When they first come, they always look at each other with fear and suspicion and anger. But because they are able to live together with the support of the whole Plum Village community, that is why with the practice of mindful breathing, mindful walking, they were able to recognize the fear, the anger inside, to suffer less. And with the practice of deep listening and loving speech, they are able to listen to each other and to realize that the other side has a lot of wrong perception. And on this side, we also have a lot of wrong perceptions. And when listening to each other like that, we are able to remove many wrong perceptions we have on ourselves and on them. We realize that they have a lot of wrong perceptions on themselves and on us. And we promise that in the days to come we will offer some information so that to help them to correct their perceptions. That was the practice in Plum Village for these two groups, supported by the whole Sangha. And then listening like that, understanding like that, make you understand, and you begin to see the other group of people, the other people, as a human beings who have suffered exactly like you have. They are also victims of wrong perceptions, like us. And that is why people of the two groups are capable of looking at each other with the eyes of compassion. And when we are able to look at the person with compassion, we don't suffer anymore. And our look make the other person, our way of looking make the other person suffer less right away. So people of the two groups begin to share a meal, hold hand, to do walking meditation, and reconciliation becomes possible. And they always come together as one group at the end of the session, the retreat, and report to the Sangha about the fruit of their practice. And they always promise that when they go back to the Middle East, they will organize their retreat, their practice, so that other people will profit and suffer less. And we believe that if their practice is organized on a high level, it will work also. So the second proposal is about bringing religious leaders of the three traditions to come together. And Thay even suggested a place to do so, Abbey de Royaumont, not very far from Paris. And he offered to come to help with the techniques of breathing and walking, to help people calm down. And after maybe 21 days or 50 days, they may get the insight, and they will draft a statement together calling for their political leaders to stop the atrocities, to stop the hostilities in the Middle East. And that is also a call for practice and not speculation. And UNESCO can do that, because UNESCO has the role of supporting, leading the practice of peace, non-violence, the culture of peace, the education on peace. The third proposal I made is UNESCO should sponsor should work and organize global no-car days every month. Every month, the whole globe will practice one no-car day. And we shall use the no-car day in order to accelerate that kind of awareness, awakening about the situation of global warming. And they said that in Plum Village and in Deer Park Monastery, we have adopted one no-car day a week. And it brings us a lot of happiness, because we know that we are able to do something, we don't feel helpless. Deer Park Monastery adopted Tuesday as a no-car day. They promised to reduce the use of car by 50%. They promised to try to change their cars into hybrid cars, or using biodiesel as a fuel. And they promised that they will shopping only for the community only once a week. And in Plum Village, the Upper Hamlet and New Hamlet also adopted Tuesday as a no-car day, and the Lower Hamlet Saturday. We try also to dig wells to have the water. We'll try to install solar panels to get electricity and so on. So there can be a lot of joy doing that. And when after we have made a decision, we invite members of our community worldwide to respond and to make the similar pledge. And when they went to UNESCO, already 4,000 people sent the message and pledged to do the same. So it sounds like a collective awakening, collective action. And they proposed that UNESCO, from the director to the permanent delegate, they will try to drive a kind of car that will not pollute. They will try to reduce the consumption so that UNESCO can become a real model, a sangha of practice. And there was a lot of upload during Thay's talk, but we don't know what will become, what will happen. Yeah, 50 years is not a lot. The renewal of Buddhism, in order for the teaching and the practice to be relevant to our time, is very important. We have tried to do it in Plum Village, and some 800 sanghas affiliated with Plum Village are doing the same. And in Vietnam, we try to do the same thing. We have 4 monasteries training in the style of Plum Village, 2 for monks and 2 for nuns. And when people come, they will see the kind of Buddhism that we need in order to respond to the need, the real need of our time. So dear friend, each of you should be a hand, an arm of the Buddha. The Buddha needs you to renew that teaching, that practice, so that living with hope, with joy, with compassion become possible in our life. This is something we can do. The 5 mindfulness trainings can be described as a global ethic, and it is my conviction that each spiritual tradition can go back to their tradition and to discover the equivalent teaching and practice. It is a time when we have to organize ourselves in communities, in sanghas, in order for the practice to be possible. There have been many good appeal for peace. I think the Manifesto 2000 is an excellent one, and even if nearly 100 million people sign, it has not had a lot of effect on our life, because we agree on that, but we don't do it. So Sangha building, organizing ourselves is a very important action. We have to organize our family into a Sangha. We have to set up communities of practice in our own area. We already have the path. We know that we don't need to be afraid if we hold each other's hand in order to walk on that path. We need not be we need not be desperate, because despair is the worst thing that can happen to a human's life. And the light of Buddha is available. And it is possible to recognize ourselves and to live truly in the spirit of 5 mindfulness trainings. Change our habit of living, change our habit of consuming, living in such a way that make a future possible for us and for our children. If you are 30, be sure to know that you'll be 80 someday. And you should look deeply to see what you can do today. People suffer when they grow old because they have not done what they are supposed to do. They were supposed to do. Don't wait until tomorrow. What you can do today, do it today. And old age will be a delicious kind of fruit. If there are old people who suffer because they have not done what they should have done. So if you are 30, think about that and put into practice what you want to do right away today. The Buddha is always there to support you, to guide you.